It was this is so dramatic, but I felt like my soul was leaving before. I knew I was probably going to die. It wasn't.
Not all success stories have happy endings, especially in Hollywood. Some of the brightest stars rise from humble beginnings with inspiring rags-to-riches tales, only to lose their way later. Whether it's due to struggles with addiction, mental health challenges, or poor financial decisions, some famous celebrities have shockingly ended up homeless. While a few manage to turn their lives around and make a comeback, others face tragic endings. Watch till the end to find out which celebrities lost everything and became homeless. Margot Kidder, best known for playing Lois Lane in the Christopher Reeve Superman films, was once a Hollywood star. Her fame extended to her relationships, as she even dated icons like Richard Pryor and the Canadian Prime Minister Pierre Trudeau. So imagine the shock of many when she was found wandering the streets, plagued by schizophrenia and manic depression. She slept in cardboard boxes and backyards in Los Angeles. Many spotted her looking more than disheveled, her front teeth were missing, and her hair was hacked off. This homeless phase happened after a manic episode in 1996. She was eventually found by her family and the police, living out of a box behind bushes in Glendale, California. While living on the streets, she asked different people for a cigarette. Some people also put her up at a motel for the night. Eventually, she was taken to a private psychiatric clinic and started to accept treatment. She also became an advocate for mental health support and once said, "We are all a breath away from mental illness, homelessness, all these things we tend to look down on." Erin Moran became a famous name across many households when she was 14. The child actor was known for her role as Joni Cunningham on Happy Days, but in the later days of her life, she ended up broke and homeless after spending all her wealth irresponsibly. It was reported that she had squandered away all her money and had foreclosed on her California home in 2010. Eventually, she and her husband had to live with his elderly mother in a trailer in Indiana. This arrangement didn't last long, as one night she came home from a night of drinking and ended up fighting with her mother-in-law, who eventually kicked her out of the Indiana trailer park home. After this, she was on the verge of separating from her husband and bounced from motel to motel with no place to live. After being kicked out, she was spotted looking worse for wear near an inn. Eventually, she passed away while broke and homeless due to a heroin overdose. Another child actor who had a turbulent life was Dana Plato, the sitcom star from Different Strokes. After the show ended, she struggled with homelessness, and it wasn't long until she passed away from a drug overdose. Plato was just 14 when she appeared on the hit sitcom, but behind the scenes, she was already using drugs. By the end of the sitcom, she fell on hard times and was involved in different scandals while struggling with drug and alcohol abuse. She had legal issues, such as forging a prescription in 1992 and, the year before that, robbing a video store. Eventually, she ended up serving time in jail and was placed in drug rehabilitation programs. In 1999, Plato was found living out of Oklahoma motels as she was homeless. She claimed that she was clean and sober, but a few weeks after that, she was discovered dead from a drug overdose. Her death was eventually ruled a suicide. The day before she passed away homeless, she appeared on The Howard Stern Show, admitting to being an alcoholic and drug addict. She claimed she was sober, but many callers insulted and questioned her, which might have pushed her over the edge. Lonnie Willison was famous for her modeling career and quickly achieved success, but now she is a homeless person living in Venice Beach due to different factors like her drug addiction and mental health issues. Willison had achieved fame as a fitness model and was often featured in magazines. She eventually found herself at the pinnacle of her career when she married Jeremy Jackson, the Baywatch star. But her meth addiction and mental health issues sent her down a path of homelessness. She was known for blaming her current issues on her ex-husband, Jackson, revealing that they had a very violent relationship, where one time, Jackson tried to strangle her. She also claims that she can't live inside anywhere because she can't be exposed to electricity. She had been electrocuted every day for almost a year. She said, "I think because I pick up on the electricity, I also pick up on other things like certain chemicals or batteries or fuses, like wire, different types of metals, so I think my body filters that kind of stuff." There's no telling whether this is the truth or simply an excuse for the meth addiction that sent her on a downward spiral. MC Hammer was a hip-hop star who went from winning 3 Grammy Awards to being homeless. The rapper dominated the 90s with his catchy hip-hop and dance songs, as well as trademarks like parachute pants, dance moves like the typewriter, and his famous phrase, "Hammer time." He was everywhere, even starring in the cartoon series Hammerman. As the money kept coming, MC Hammer kept spending. He owned a 40,000 square foot mansion, which he spent $30 million on renovating, 17 cars, 2 helicopters, a jet, and racehorses. However, music trends changed, and he became less popular. Despite losing money, he maintained his big house and other luxury items while paying over 200 people to work for him. Ultimately, he had to sell all his property and ended up with $3 million in debt. He also owed over $800,000 in taxes. Eventually, he recovered, moving to a modest house, organizing concerts, and saving and investing money. Jan Michael Vincent went from Hollywood heartthrob to homeless due to his addiction, violent behavior, and bad luck. He was known for his role in the popular TV series Airwolf. With his beach-ready body and all-American looks, he remained famous, but not for long. Soon, he started dealing with alcoholism and drug use, which persisted for the rest of his life. Between 1977 and 1979, he was arrested for cocaine possession multiple times. He was also arrested for bar brawls in 1984 and 1985, as well as for felony assault, drunk driving, and physical assaults. Vincent ended up in numerous automobile accidents, some of which were caused by his habit of drunk driving, breaking a lot of his bones. Eventually, his right leg was amputated, and he walked with a prosthetic limb or used a wheelchair. His substance abuse and health issues led to homelessness. He eventually lived in seclusion in rural Mississippi and North Carolina before passing away at the age of 74. Many other celebrities have faced similar tragic fates, with their stardom fading and their personal struggles leading them to homelessness. The pressures of fame, fortune, and personal demons have taken a toll on many stars, serving as a stark reminder that success can be fleeting. Known for his successful boxing career, he was once worth $5 million, but in the blink of an eye, he became homeless. In 2010, the New York Post reported that the former boxing champion had been sleeping in subway cars and the Howard Johnson Express. In the 80s and 90s, Barkley made around $5 million from his boxing career. He eventually lost all his earnings due to reckless spending and poor financial management. This led to financial ruin, and he eventually became unemployed and penniless. He started to live in motels and on the streets. His niece first took him in, and he lived in the Patterson Houses, a public housing development in the Bronx. Eventually, she couldn't take him in anymore, and he slept in subway cars before ending up at Howard Johnson. Eventually, he received support from the Bronx nonprofit BronxWorks and the Ring 10 boxing charity. He also found housing and got back on his feet, teaching boxing skills to young amateurs. Natasha Lyonne dominated Hollywood in the 90s with her roles in But I'm a Cheerleader, Slums of Beverly Hills, and American Pie, but her career was derailed after different encounters with the law. She eventually started to struggle with addiction and homelessness after being kicked out of her apartment. Eventually, Lyonne found herself living on the streets. In 2001, she was arrested for a DUI and kicked out of her apartment in Gramercy Park. By 2005, she was admitted to Beth Israel Hospital and was treated for methadone addiction, a heart infection, hepatitis C, and a collapsed lung. Since then, she has pulled her life together. She starred in the Netflix show Orange is the New Black and produced Russian Doll, based on her experiences. She also starred in Poker Face, the detective procedural. Danny Bonaduce had struggled with alcohol and drug addictions from a young age and eventually became homeless as an adult. He starred in The Partridge Family, which made him a household name, but eventually, he went in and out of rehab while struggling to stay clean. This led to him becoming homeless as an adult. He struggled with drug abuse and alcoholism. Bonaduce also dealt with health issues as he was diagnosed with hydrocephalus. He used to live in his car behind the Grauman's Chinese Theater in Hollywood. Bonaduce would often greet autograph seekers from the car too, and he once shared his unusual experience of being homeless and famous at the same time. In an interview, he said, "I was still famous, and people had no idea I lived behind the dumpster. I'd be taking pictures with people and signing autographs." He has recovered as a drive-time DJ on WLSY and remarried. Eventually, he retired from radio in Seattle due to his medical condition and brain surgery. Even Olympic stars fall on hard times, as you can see in the story of Houston McTeer. He was once dubbed the world's fastest human and tied the world record in high school. He ran a 100-yard dash in 9.0 seconds. Soon after, he escaped poverty in Florida and moved to Los Angeles, learning boxing under Muhammad Ali and Harold Smith. He appeared on the cover of Sports Illustrated in 1978 and also qualified for the U.S. Olympic team in 1980. However, the U.S. boycotted the Olympics, preventing him from participating. From there, he fell into drug use and was homeless for 3 years during the 1980s, losing his support after his club went under and falling into drugs. McTeer slept on Santa Monica Beach for up to 3 years before an older woman rescued him. He revealed that he never went hungry as he often ate at the Claire Foundation, a Santa Monica mission for the homeless. McTeer has now rebuilt his life and married Linda Haglund, the former Swedish sprinter. Golden Globe-nominated actress Brett Butler was once at the top of her game. However, she battled a drug addiction and eventually ended up living in a homeless shelter. Butler became famous for her role in the ABC sitcom Grace Under Fire. During the show, she battled a recurring drug addiction and also spent a lot of time in rehab. Her struggles began with substance abuse, but she later became clean. She eventually moved out of LA and stayed on a farm in Georgia, living there with 15 pets. Soon after, her money ran out, and she ended up living in a homeless shelter for a long time. It was later revealed that she had been attempting to make a career comeback. She wants to develop a reality TV show about her self-professed psychic abilities while performing at a downtown comedy club in Los Angeles. Willie Alms is known for his roles in 8 is Enough and Charles in Charge, but he became homeless after a shocking financial ruin. Eventually, he lost his job, bank account, wife, and child. Alms lived in parking garages, under bushes, and in the park. He could not find any other jobs, including acting as a wilderness guide. Once, he earned more than $1 million annually, but he later lost it all and slept on the streets. In an interview, he revealed, "At the very peak of 8 is Enough, I was making a little over $1 million a year. Then suddenly, there was no job, no bank account, no wife, no child. I never dreamt it could happen that fast. I found myself virtually homeless. I stayed with friends when I could, slept in parking garages, or slept in the park. It was shameful. I remember laying underneath the bushes thinking, is this how it turns out? Is this how my life really turns out?" Eventually, he recovered and made a comeback, becoming a financial advisor after passing the licensing exams and training program. He returned to acting and filmmaking, splitting his time between Vancouver and Los Angeles. The former boxing champion Rocky Lockridge achieved much fame. He was a junior lightweight champion, but soon after his career ended in 1992, he struggled with addiction and homelessness. After his boxing career, Lockridge eventually became a crack addict, which caused him to lose his wife, children, and all his savings. By 1997, he was sentenced to 27 months in prison for burglary. After getting released from prison, he ended up homeless and spent up to 10 years on the streets of New Jersey. While on the streets, he also suffered from a stroke, causing his body to lean to one side. Despite his wealth and education, he suffered after retirement because of his use of drugs and alcohol and the beatings that his body had gone through. Aside from the injuries caused by boxing, he had parties every weekend, abusing alcohol and cocaine. He also spent his money recklessly, causing him to lose everything. Marvin Gaye was a legendary soul singer whose music captivated the world with depth and emotion. Known for timeless hits like What's Going On, Sexual Healing, and Let's Get It On, Gaye was a pioneer who shaped the sound of Motown and beyond. Behind his musical genius, however, he struggled with addiction, financial difficulties, and deep family conflicts. Gaye's personal life was marked by turbulence, including substance abuse and strained relationships, particularly with his father. Despite his inner battles, his music's ability to convey raw emotion made him a voice for social change and personal reflection. Tragically, on April 1, 1984, just a day before his 45th birthday, Gaye was shot and killed by his father during a heated argument. His untimely death shocked the world, but his legacy as a soul icon continues to inspire generations. Amanda Peterson rose to stardom as Cindy Mancini in the 1987 romantic comedy Can't Buy Me Love alongside Patrick Dempsey. Her portrayal of the charming cheerleader made her a beloved teen idol of the 1980s, earning her widespread fame and adoration. However, behind the scenes, Peterson faced significant struggles with substance abuse and mental health challenges. As her career waned, she stepped away from the entertainment industry and retreated from public life, battling personal hardships that overshadowed her early success. Tragically, on July 3, 2015, just days before her 44th birthday, Peterson passed away from an accidental drug overdose, leaving fans and the industry mourning the loss of her talent and potential.